I cannot believe that in a country where we rah for women's rights, that at the most basic level, these young ladies are neglected. Nobody is telling them that please just finish school. Please just keep yourself safe, keep yourself intact and finish school.
For most girls, actually, they would not love to be called poor. In the schools, they have feeding schemes, but not many would love to go and get food from there because they will be labeled. You are poor, you go for the feeding scheme.
Yena lo muntu usuka sekafila ukuthi ufuna imali alala nabantu abadala ukuthi bathole leyo nto leyo kudla endlini.
Ngimama pregnant uwe oyoba yi-laughing stock umfana yena uzoba sendaweni zakhe wena uphethe isifo lana hayi akukho right.
We went to the impoverished community of Alexandra, where Nelson Mandela stayed when he first came to Johannesburg in 1941. At just over a square mile, with a population close to 500,000, it is one of the poorest and most densely populated urban areas in the world. We visited a centre there for vulnerable young girls and spoke to them and some of the people helping to change their circumstances about the challenges of growing up in their community.
Alex, indawo nje ngithandayo ngoba ngikhulele kuye ngeke ngize ngijikele ngithi ngoba ingcolile ngoba ngikhulele ngikhukhu hlala kuyo kodwa indawo nje siphila kuyo kungcolile awungena nje Alex ukuhamba amanzi kugeleza amanzi but asingene emzini yabanye asifana ngithi imizi abanye bahlala emkhukhwini abanye bahlala endlini eze-right but ngaphandle khona Alex siphila kabi kungcolile akubukeki kwabantu like abangayijwayelanga i-Alex nje engakhona.
Alex indawo e-right mara qale amatsotsi abantu bayantshontsha futhi mara abantu bakhona ba-right sihlangene akekho umuntu ohlala kude sisendaweni like sihlangene akekho umuntu okude like angeke utsafu ukuyovashela umuntu unless until abantu bakhona ngithanda abantu bakhona indawo mara yadiphenda because ezinye indawo zingcolile. Ubhuti mangithatha sihlala naye sinomfazi wakhe since 2007 until now. Well, sometimes esikoleni bazoyenza ama-meeting abantu baze nabo mama abo bababo mina obviously if ithi akunamuntu ngizoya ngiyi-one like ngihlale nabangani bami nabazali babo. Yeah, sometimes it was painful. Yeah, crusher ngikhipha ukubhoreka sometimes mangisendlini thola kunagesi ngihlala ngaphandle ngicrochete nasesikolweni nge-free period ngiyacrocheta or ngifunda incwadi i-relax umqondo ngiyacrocheta ilanga lonke ungabhorekanga. Yeah, ikhipha enkingeni. Mina ngithanda ukufunda like angithanda abantwana abadlalayo esikolweni kunesikhathi sokuba serious nesikhathi sokudlala. Good relationship nabo teacher ngibadelile ngiyayenza umsebenzi wami esikolo ngiqede.
Kimi isikolo sibaluleke ngokuthi ngifuna i-change empilweni yami like nalomuntu ongikhulisile because akubanga ne-chance ukuthi abazali bami bangikhulise manje ngifuna ukumbonisa ukuthi ngiya-appreciate talent ayenze empilweni yami kanjalo. Ngiya-enjoya i-English ama-life orientation but akuhluleni kwami zonke i-maths yangihlula. Mina ekhaya sithola i-grant mina umntana sekhaya nogogo ngazi-ke ukuthi imalini iyasinceda khona leyo mali leyo esiyitholayo noma kuyimadlana because kumele ukuthi kuyiswe le naleni imali yakhona ayihlali yeah yasinceda entweni eziningi.
Abantwana bamanje bakhula kahle kodwa bayazenza ngoba abafundi esikolweni and manje kunama social workers kunabantu ababagayida ukuthi benzeni bengenzini banamthola kunama social grant. The time when we grow up there were no those things.
Almost all the girls we spoke to were afraid of being raped.
Ngiyesaba nginokuba nje ngihleli nabantu emlilweni nginokuthi ngisabe ngithe maybe ngizothi ngithi ngidlule ema-toiletini ngithi ngidlula ngale nje ukuthola abantu bensango bahleli ngale ngivede ngisabe ngithi hayi angidlula ngale maybe ngizothola labantu bangenzakalise kabi. La hlala khona ne akuhlaliseki because awuthi uphuma ngapha kunabafana and kunabo baba like abadala. Like awugqokile uthola bakubheka ungazi ukuthi babhekani like akukho safe Alexandra yeah kunabo baba bokurapa
Alex indawo engekho safe sometimes because amadoda ngala ngaphandle athanda ukuthatha abantwana baye barapa amanye amadoda ngaphandle athatha abantwana abancane bayabadlengola. After that, abanye bahamba bangena emsini abantu bathatha izinto zabo abantu babhema idakamizwa.
Bertha runs a support group for young girls at Rays of Hope, a charity founded by the Rosebank Union Church, which focuses on helping orphans and vulnerable children.
There's a lot of robberies, muggings, break-ins in Alexandra, and the drugs as well. Nyaupe is so huge in Alexandra, and the Nyaupe addicts can do anything, and I mean anything, to get their hands on the drug. You see a young girl, you know, with probably about 20 other people in the same family, sharing a 2-room or a 1-room house. Then there are men there, and there are men in the yard, and most of their fears, they fear being raped. Most of the girls that I work with, that's their worst fear.
Sandra Miller runs Dignity Dreams, which provides free, reusable sanitary pads that last up to 5 years to young girls from poor communities. This year, she launched a campaign for Nelson Mandela Day. We spoke to her at Rays of Hope, where she gave sanitary packs to some of the girls.
The day the Nelson Mandela Foundation said we will support your drive, since that day the corporates have come on board.
Sandra explains what motivated her to provide sanitary pads to girls in need.
On the 6th of February 2013, I was in an informal settlement in Graskop. The NGO had asked me to go and speak to these girls, aged 10, 11 and 12, 20 of them, and just find out, talk to them, find out what they need, etc. The stories of their sexual experiences at the age of 10, 11 and 12 were absolutely horrific. Even at that age, it is a commodity. Then I said to them, okay, girls, do you prefer sanitary towels to tampons? And they looked at me as though I was from another planet. And they said, but we have never, ever, ever had a sanitary towel. Never. You know, there are approximately 4.1 million schoolgirls in no-fee-paying schools. So if they can't pay school fees, they can't buy sanitary towels. So my main target is these primary school children.
Sandra said girls who do not have access to sanitary pads can miss up to a term of school a year, 5 days of every month.
There is no point in giving girls sanitary towels and nothing else. These girls are so starved of knowledge, of care, of love. They don't even know they're fertile once their periods start.
Part of Sandra's work is to educate girls about the facts of their periods.
A girl said to me, my mother says if I put salt on my father's food, it'll take the pain away. And there is your sanitary towel set.
Benginokuzwa bakhuluma nje bathi kwama-period pain kuze abantu esikoleni bafika sitshela ngazi ukuthi bohlale ubilisa amanzi ane-onion uthele ebhakedeni uvale uhlale phezu kwalo kuzoba ngcono.
Because sister mina sala ngitshela athi nge-first time mina ema-periodini bekaqala ukuthi u-pregnant.
Can you guys tell us what, when you started your periods, your experiences, what you were using when you didn't have sanitary pads, or what some of your friends have told you they would use when they didn't have sanitary pads?
Ishiya udoti kusale kunobumhlophe. Ibese loba mhlophe bungena phakathi ngingazi ke ukuthi bukhosa ini phakathi.
Okay.
And abanye babo bayasebenzisa ama newspaper nawo ayafana ne-tissue kodwa.
And if your friends don't have?
I use cotton.
Udabula impahla.
Okay, you can't.
Engasebenzisi uthi ivasilab bazokwazi ukuthi ayophinda yowash.
Siyabe siya esikoleni ngoba esikoleni banokusinika ama-pads if like usema-periodini.
So benginokuthi like manje ema-periodini ngingakhona ukuya esikoleni bengihlala ekhaya ngayi esikoleni. Ngibona ukuthi okay manje isikhathi sokuthi mhlambe into bengiphusha kakhulu bokuthi masibhala ama-exams. It was a forced ukuthi I must go to school. At least manje esikhathini samanje kunama-opportunities. Kunezinto eziningi eziprovider abantwana abangakhoni. Like for an example, Rays of Hope is the one la endlini is provider with food. And then there's the opportunities when ukuthi mabaqeda isikolo by my colleges bababhadalele.
Growing up in Alexandra, girls often have to confront immense challenges. The high rate of teenage pregnancy and having to drop out of school early can result in a future of diminished opportunities.
Not all girls in Alex are disadvantaged, to be honest. Many of them get the opportunity to go to school. And in the event of a girl falling pregnant, the boy, if both of them are in school, the young man will continue with school, but the girl will have to drop out and look after the child. That's where the inequality comes.
I cannot believe that in a country where we rah for women's rights, that at the most basic level, these young ladies are neglected. Even when I go to a school in the poorest of the poor, I just get the sense that the boys are just valued a little better than the girls. I just desperately want to impart to these girls that they have a value. They have a huge value. And the value must start when they start valuing themselves. To me, the girl child, she's not valued. And so she's got no confidence. Because she has no confidence, she won't stand up for herself, and she will sleep with somebody for airtime.
And amantombazane like ase Alex, awungathi uthatha ukubheka athandana nabo baba abadala ngoba afuna imali, maybe ukuthi baphuma emafamilini anjani abacabanga ukuthi nathi siphuma. Angithi like if uzoyenza into esinax awucabanga ukuthi nayo abanye abangani bami baphuma emafamilini anjani nabo. Hayi abantu besimame nje into ababongelwa yona mina ngisho ngithi ukuthi baletha abantwana.
What does the future hold for girls who drop out of school because they are pregnant?
Mina ngicabanga ukuthi ne like ifuture abanyeke bathola umsebenzi ngoba bazocabanga ukuthi labantu laba zange bafunda basiqeda isikolo. Abanye babo bazophelela sebama cleaners because abana matric bazophela beclean and bahola imali encane. Abafana angithi nathandana uzoba preg ngene isikolo bayithi uzoba preg wena umfana uyiqhubeka nesikolo wena ohlala nomntwana usele endlini ngeke uphinde ubuyele esikoleni ucabanga abangani bami bothini umama akafuna ukungiphathela umntwana into ezikanjalo ugcina usiyekile isikolo sebamba amatoro.
You go for days with no food in the house and you are a young girl. Some parents actually, some guardians actually push these young girls to go and have relationships for money. Because when you have a relationship and you sleep with a man, they actually give you a few rands that you can buy food and some odds in the house.
Alexandra is a stone's throw from Sandton. The wealthiest square mile on the continent continuously tears down buildings to build bigger and better ones. While in Alex, there is barely space for the shacks that seem to mushroom overnight.
Angeke uphilise umuntu ophila kwenye like i-township nomuntu wase-Alexandra abafani, because umuntu wase-Alexandra khona manje uqeda ukuyuza i-pets akayiroli nangethishu ulahle emnyango omunye umuntu. Akayifaka edustbin, akase-toilet akakwazi ukuyirola ngethishu if kune-dustbin afake edustbin.
Nabantwana bafike bathatha ama-pets bawahle. Namakhondomu bathola amakhondomu lapha esitradini.
Alexandra has a long and unsuccessful history of trying to get rid of its rat population.
Alexandra ingcolile inamagumba. Alexandra nje.
Alexandra is a poor community, and when I mean poor, there are a lot of things that you can, attribute to that. Lack of family support, lack of love, lack of education opportunities and material things, accommodation, food, and basic needs, toilets, water. Those are things that are a problem in Alex.
In my mind, poverty meant you didn't have a home and you didn't have food. That day I realized that poverty means you don't have a mentor, you don't have love, you don't have peers, you don't have the proper education. Those are the things that are making these girls poor.
For most girls, actually, they would not love to be called poor. They would rather sit and, maintain their dignity and their pride to say, I'm not poor. And for many of them, it's the mentality that if I say it's okay, then it will be okay. But in reality, it won't.
Na endlini si-right kunalokho esinganakho sa-understand amabanganamali asithi siyahlupheka because uzilethela ukuhlupheka mothi uyahlupheka.
We asked the Gauteng MEC for Social Development what her department is doing to help young girls in Alexandra. She said they provide them with dignity packs, which include sanitary pads, but was unclear as to how often they're replenished and whether all girls are able to access them.
One of our priorities is to ensure that our programs of Banapili takes care of all the young children and all the young girls, including young boys, in ensuring that they remain in school and they go to school on time. That's when we came up with the idea of having our dignity packs.
Together with other government departments, they run several programs for children in Alexandra.
Department of Education does also offer nutrition for some of them, because the challenge of children or young girls also going to school and to find that there's no food from home, we have drop-in centers where they go to eat, and then thereafter they are also helped with their homeworks and then be able to go back home. The schools that we are providing these dignity packs are schools that have been identified by the Department of Education. When we distribute the school uniform, we then include panties in those packages so that then it does also help those young girls.
The MEC says her department is helped by public benefit organizations in identifying children in need, a network of social workers, some of whom are drawn from charities such as Rays of Hope, act as mentors to the children.
Our entry into any household is through a child. And once we're able to identify that child through the teachers or the principals in those schools, we also do make a follow-up even at their homes to establish their living conditions in a situation whereby there's a granny who then takes care of the children. So through the foster care grant, then these children are taken care of by the granny. The granny gets 700 rand per child because then she is a foster parent to those two children.
Nyaope is the most addictive and popular drug in Alexandra. The MEC spoke about tackling drugs in the area.
Drug abuse is now rife within our communities. We as a department have rehabilitation centers. We also have got halfway houses here in Alex, like using Sanka or working together with Sanka. We hope with the involvement of all the parents and all the stakeholders, we can be able to even root out the drug lords that exist within our communities.
On the issue of Alexandra being overrun with rats and litter, the MEC had this to say.
The Josie at Work program, which is being done by the municipality, it is one of the programs of ensuring that Alexandra remains clean. Let's make it our responsibility to ensure that our environment always remains clean and we properly dispose of any garbage that we want to dispose of. You put in a poisonous thing for rats to eat, for rats to eat, you run a danger that some of these things can actually be picked up by little children who can eat them. But I'm definitely sure if we work together as communities in trying to keep our environment clean, we'll ensure that we also root out all the rats that exist within our environment.
Despite their circumstances, all the young girls we spoke to have big dreams for their future.
I'm going to be an archaeologist because I'm adventurous. Like in trying to find out like always curious. An archaeologist is are people who study the ancient civilizations.
Ngifuna ukuba i-actor but then ngingagijimeli imoto because abanye ngibona omunye umuntu unemoto ngifuna imoto ngiqale ngilungisele ugogo wami wangikhulisa bese ngikhane ngizobona ezinye izinto.
I want to be a doctor because I like helping people when they're sick. I want to be a nurse because there are many people who are sick and have some diseases and I want to help them.
I want to be a pilot because abanye abantu from like South Africa bayahamba bawufundela ukuba ezinye izinto kwamanye ama-continent. I want to be a social worker because I want to help children who suffer from their families.
I want to be a teacher because ngifuna ukuthi labantwana kusasa babe nesasa labo elihle.
The presence of positive role models and the continued assistance from organizations such as Rays of Hope and Dignity Dreams can help these young girls achieve what they want.
The few women that have come out and made, life for themselves in Alexandra are very good role models, and they are there. Few as they may be, but they are there in Alexandra.
Zanele attributes some of the positive things in her life to Mandela's legacy.
Namhlanje ngikhuluma so ngihola igrant ngiyakwazi ukulala ngidlile ngiyaqoka angiphumi ngaphandle nginquna angazi ukuthi ngambonga ngani uyinto enkulu kimi.
Number 3.